Hey guys, this is week 48 Project Life, and if you're anything like me this week, you probably still have a bunch of December daily, December album supplies sitting on your desk. I know I certainly do. I haven't quite finished my album yet, so I had all of this stuff just sitting there, and I figured why not use that for Project Life? I don't have a kit to use or anything this week, and I couldn't really be bothered hunting through my room trying to find stuff. I just wanted to use things that were already out, and that's what I'm gonna do. I grabbed a few alphas, there's some puffy stickers from Feed Your Craft, and I did pull out three 6x6 pads, and that's what I'm going through now. Kind of just looking for more non-Christmassy patterns in here, because this week was really only had a couple of days of December, and it was mostly the end of November, and it definitely was not particularly a festive week, so I don't want to add too much of those sort of festive elements. I want to keep it a little bit plainer. So I have got sort of a red gingham down the bottom. There's a plain white with green grid that I'm going to do my journaling on. In the end, I decided to go for this kind of blue and red plaid that didn't seem quite, too far Christmassy. And at the top here, there's sort of a minty green star pattern, which I guess went in combination with all of those other Christmassy patterns could be quite Christmassy. Otherwise, it's just a pretty pattern. So those are the ones that I've picked, and I'm going to trim those down. I will leave a link to all the supplies that I've used down the bottom in the description box if you want to check them out, if you still have some December album to get through yourself. Otherwise, just use what you've got in your stash, I say. There's no reason to wait until next December to pull all this out, and the reality is next December, I'm sure I will be wanting new supplies anyway, so I want to try and use up as much as I can now. So this is all my little layout done, and there's really going to be quite sort of minimal embellishing this week. I don't have a lot of embellishments that weren't like heavily Christmas themed. I pulled out this puffy sticker sheet from the Jolly and Joyful Feed Your Craft kit because there were a few sort of plainer elements in there, not as quite Christmassy, that I thought could work to at least add a little bit of embellishment to this page. I'm going to start by sticking down the few photos I have to stick down. I've got these two Instax photos, and although I do use a little bit of tape runner on the back of them, I always secure them with a staple or some washi tape or something like that, because the tape runner or double-sided tape tends not to want to stick too much to those Instax photos. I've had a few in some of my older albums kind of fall off the papers, so I'm careful to sort of stick those down a bit more securely. So this is what I mean about the puffy stickers here. That one says Be Cozy, which, like, in combination with all those other Christmassy things, could be quite Christmassy, but actually works really nicely for the photo of Lily and Mel all cuddled up on our bed with us. And they're only really sort of Christmassy. Well, there's a couple of Christmassy photos in here, I guess. I sat down and had a little gingerbread man charm making session, so I'm fine using the Be Merry sticker for that one. The only thing I'm doing with both of those stickers is adding a couple of these little asterixy stars around them in some of those non-Christmassy colours, so the pink and the yellow. I don't want to go too like heavily green and red themed, and I think adding in those few extra colours will just make it a little bit less festive looking. Usually when I have my little 2 1/4-ish photos, square photos there, I normally put them towards the top of the card, but I really wanted to use that little love heart speech bubble sticker, so I did turn it around so that I could add it to the top there because it's so cute. That's Lil with her little Santa toy, which I pull out for her every December for her to use there. And I did add a little puffy sticker heart in between Shane and myself in that Instax down the bottom. I don't 100% know how well puffy stickers are going to stick to the Instax, so I guess we'll find out. Now for my title cards, I'm going to use the Bolton Street numbers and the Bishop Street alphas from Kelly Stamps. They were in my December daily stash. I didn't end up using the numbers at all, but the Bishop Street alphas were definitely one of my favorites in my album. The 8 I haven't used before. You can see I've used the 4 there, and so I was giving it a try with just seasoning the 8 with just ink, and you can see the difference here without me even having to zoom in. By doing it properly with a sand eraser, it just makes it so much crisper, so much blacker. It really is a much better way of seasoning those stamps before you use them for the first time. The 4 I have used before. I just gave it a quick test to make sure it didn't need a little bit more, and it was fine, so I've stamped those. Towards the bottom right, I didn't really have a plan for what was going to come next, so I'm sort of just winging it, and I'm going to stamp weak so that it lines up with the bottom edge of the 4 there, and that will give me a little bit of space underneath to do my date stamping. I didn't have any labels or anything for this week, so I needed a place, and I was going to put it under there. I can't believe I stuffed up the stamping of the E twice. And look at this. I was not thinking. I very nearly stamped peak 48. It's been a long day. Finally get the W out. I'm so glad I didn't stamp that K down and caught it in time. But I don't like how there's this huge gap on the left, and I thought I would be okay with it, but I don't. I just want to add something to it, and I just was trying to use what I had, so I didn't want to go and pull out some washi tapes to match or anything like that. So what I did in the end was just trim down the same grid paper that I'm going to use for my journaling. I trimmed it so it was roughly, I just eyeballed it, the same height as the week stamping, and then I just angled the edge of it so that it echoed the W, and then stuck that down and trimmed off the edge. And I really like the way it just fills in that gap. It makes it look purposeful, kind of like the title is coming across the card there. Now I do still have to do my little date stamping underneath, and it's one of those months, weeks, where there's 2 months. So I'm going to stamp the full second month, and then I'm just going to mask. I don't want to put 2019 twice, so I'm just going to mask that off a little scrap of paper. It's not perfect, but it'll do. I added the little heart, and then I decided I wanted to add just a bit of color, so I'm going to add a couple more of those asterisk stickers. I wish I had ones that weren't red and green, but that's all I had left. I used the darkest green that I had, and you can see on camera here it looks sort of blackish, but it is actually a really dark forest green, so that worked nicely. And then I'm going to add a little touch to this, which you cannot see at all. I'm doing some just some rough stitching with a gel pen, some fake stitching with a pink gel pen, again to add the colours that aren't Christmassy. You can't see it, even I can barely see it in real life. I tried a couple of different pens and neither of them were totally successful, so it probably was an unnecessary detail, but I do kind of like that there's a little bit of extra colour on the top there. Now the other 2 photos I've got, the 2 4x6 photos, I'm just going to add some alpha stickers to those. I don't have any other stamps. There weren't any stamps in my December stash that weren't very, very Christmas themed, so I decided not to do much stamping at all this week. So I'm just going to use these letter stickers, again adding those pink ones. I mean, pink and red is a big theme in my December albums, always, but it works nicely for the project life, trying to mingle up those colours a bit, ties in the pink of those asterisk stickers that I've already used, and just tones down the Christmas theme. I had a weird sort of spacing issue again in here, so I'm going to add another one of those little asterisk stickers. They are like the fix all of this page. And the last photo down here, we had like a super foggy day, and I didn't really know what to write. I really wanted to use those white alphas from Ellie's Studio, but I have no letters left basically. There's no G's, there was no F's, there was no E's. It was it was going to be really awkward to find something to say, so I'm going to use these little sort of typewritery ones instead, and I decided not to add like so foggy or anything like that. I'm just going to spell out pea soup. It really was probably the thickest fog we've had all year. It was bizarre to wake up to. So took a photo of that, added some stickers. I'm not going to add any colour to that because I kind of like the fact that it is just this foggy photo. So all I've got left to do is just my journaling, and I wasn't sure really what to do. I don't have any stamps to stamp a title or anything like that, so I just did my journaling on the typewriter, and I hoped that I had left enough space down the bottom right here to add this little coffee sticker. The bottom of my journaling is talking about coffee. It fit nicely and was the perfect finishing touch to this week of non-Christmas themed project life. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there are a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I will see you next time. Bye guys.